So Boris Johnson says to vote for him in this election so we can finally get Brexit done. It's very clever. He's tapping into the one thing the whole country agrees on, which is that we're all so bored of Brexit and are desperate to move on to other things. So here's a question. What would you want the government to focus on for the next 5 years? The NHS, investing in the North, Wales, climate change? Or would you want them to spend that time negotiating with the EU and Donald Trump? Oh, you think we can do both at the same time? So tell me, how much time has the government spent on, say, the NHS over the last 3 years since the Brexit vote? And you don't even need to take my word for it. Take the word of Boris Johnson.
Investing in the NHS, lifting up funding for education, putting 20,000 more police officers on the streets of this country. But you can only do all those things once you've got Brexit done and ended the uncertainty.
So, does leaving the EU with Boris Johnson's deal get Brexit done? Under Boris Johnson's deal, we protect the economy for the first year by staying under the EU system of rules, which means that anything made in the UK is automatically legal to sell across the EU. And by December next year, we're supposed to have negotiated our long-term trade deal with the EU. So let's forget the fact that it took us 3.5 years to negotiate a 12-month transition period, and now we'd only have about 12 months to negotiate something permanent, or else have to extend beyond that. Because the important question is there any agreement in the country, or even in the Tory party, as to what that new deal should look like? Because the political declaration in Boris Johnson's Brexit deal says we'll have comprehensive, deep regulatory cooperation. Now what that means is following the rules of the EU, but no longer having any say. Now if that's true, the Brexiteers are going to be so angry, and if it's not true, it means we're starting our negotiations with the EU on a lie, meaning the next phase of negotiations is going to be even more fun than the last. Your choice in this election is simple. Vote for Boris Johnson and UK politics will continue to be eaten up by negotiations and all the arguments that come with that for years, whilst all the issues that affect the daily lives of the British people will continue to be ignored. Or vote tactically against Boris Johnson and we can have a referendum on his deal, which even Nigel Farage says
Remain wins that referendum and wins it every single time.
And within 6 months, we can move on to start building that country that works for you, and more importantly, start focusing on those issues that we agree on far more, because that is the only way our country will ever come back together.